Good evening, Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, Max Barr, Southeastern 16, ready to talk SEC basketball. Blake's dressed for the occasion in his Canadian gear. Max Barr has had a day watching TV. What a bunch of great games today that we got to see. Some exciting basketball. Feels like it's March almost already. Just a phenomenal day of games. I guess the headliner, probably Kentucky continuing its stranglehold on Mississippi State. Yeah. I mean, Tennessee going to Texas. Winning one at the end. We got Alabama A&M.
No, let's not. No, we're not.
Okay.
We're not discussing that game right now. I'm sorry. I got words for that game, but let's go a little deeper in the stream here because this game is just absurd. I don't know how else to say it. But we'll get to that. All right. Chris, are you ready to start this thing and really... Robert wants to know why I'm not out in the snow. Well, Chris said it feels like March. It feels like January to me right now. Don't worry. Out in the snow. I could have done this from the snow, but unfortunately, Alabama and Texas A&M will be playing until next week. Let's talk about the Cats, because a lot of you are here to talk about the Cats. We know right off the bat we are going to circle back around to a bunch of other stuff that happened on the day. It's the PRIMETIME reaction show. That means we're going to cover everything that took place. We've already done 2 other live streams today. You can check those out. But let's start with the Cats. You knew, Kentucky fans, you knew that when all 3 of these schlubs you saw on the screen here decided to go with Mississippi State, it's exactly what you wanted, right? This is exactly the setup you were asking for. The Southeastern 16 kiss of death is real. We keep trying to tell people that. And it gets somebody every single game slate. Well, got the Mississippi State Bulldogs here. As Sam Smith says, you mouth-breathing idiots. That's what he likes to call us here at Southeastern 16. We're never going to be allowed to pick.
A lot of things.
We're never going to be allowed to pick Kentucky again, I'll tell you that. We're going to be forced to pick the opponent in every single game. The Kentucky fans are going to bring the super chats. But what a friggin' game. I said this. I put out the series history trends. We talked about this in the preview, did we not? I said, Kentucky has obviously won 18 straight regular season games against Mississippi State, just 19 now. But I said the last 4 times these 2 teams have played in Starkville, all those games have been decided by 5 points or fewer. Guess what this game was decided by? 5 points. These 2 always seem to play. It doesn't matter who is on the floor. They always seem to play a game of the year type candidate. And they did it again here. What an unbelievable game. What a road win for Kentucky. And just incredible to go in that building and get that win and keep the streak going.
I think that was the best game I've seen so far this year.
Yeah.
And we've seen some good ones. That had another element to it. I mean, banked in threes. You had Jackson Robinson with 7 threes. I mean, you just name whatever storyline you want to talk about in this game. Holy smokes. And it wasn't like, I love the games that are like, one team takes the momentum, the other team takes momentum. One team takes it, not like, it's like a close 4-point game, but there's just one team in the lead the whole time. I mean, this was just a heavyweight slugfest, back and forth, back and forth. You would have Melendez hitting a few shots. You had Sean Jones hitting a corner 3, and then Lamont Butler comes down. It's a corner 3. Ansley Almanor, we sat in the...
Oh, my goodness.
What?
Well, he went on a little mini tear there that kind of won them the ball game.
Reggie Miller out there just knocking down shot after shot after shot.
Unreal. Right when you thought this game couldn't get any crazier, it got a little bit crazier. That was a heck of a ball game.
I didn't think Mississippi State played badly at all. We have said many times that the range of Kentucky's performance is wide. And that's now 2 Saturdays in a row that somebody caught them, on what a 95 percentile, 95th percentile day, or, at the top of their game. I don't know whether they played better tonight or against Florida. But, I mean, that's when they really have it going, they are hard to beat. I thought Mississippi State played really well. Max, you and I were texting. I thought that Chris Jans made one error that kind of really changed the momentum of the game. When Kentucky's not missing shots, they got Josh Hubbard out. They kept him on the bench. I thought a few minutes too long. They've got Cam Matthews handling the ball. I get what they were trying to do, but the offense just did not flow. And, you had to keep pace with Kentucky at that point. They didn't. And once Kentucky took the lead there, State never got it back.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that possession from Mississippi State. 1 minute left, down by 3, was just kind of hunting for that Hubbard 3. Could have gotten a way better shot. Yeah. But I mean, the way that game was going, who knows? I mean,
what were they doing with Claudell Harris? I mean, can he not handle the ball?
I think they just trusted. I think they got back into the game with Cam at point guard. I think maybe a banked in 3 and a 6-point possession, probably, tipped Jans in the wrong direction for a little bit there, kind of a fluky play. But man, we got a few super chats here. Holy smokes.
It's a party. It's a party in the chat right now. We got to go to the one who's partying the hardest. I know, and that's Mother Carol. $20 super chat. How about that?
Whoa.
On a great Kentucky win here. Such a great day of SEC basketball. It really was a great day of games. And still going. And still going is the key word there, Mother Carol. We don't know how long this Alabama A&M game is going to go, but it's going to go a while. Shout out to all the chat, whether your team won or lost. Yeah, shout out Mother Carol. What a super chat. Incredible stuff. And you all should be cheering on Mother Carol in the comments as well. But other super chats we got to get to here. We got quite a few coming in. Zach continues his streak going. $10 super chat. What's up, guys? Are you now 0-3 in confidence games, Max, after the Mississippi State loss? If Max is confident,
it's either that,
run for the hills. Oh.
It's either 0-3 or 0-4. I know it's not.
0 for something.
It's 0 for something. Yeah. Right when you got a feeling in this league, you don't.
Yeah. Who's the confident pick going to be on Tuesday? Subscribe to find out. Joy to the world, $4.99. Sharing some of your Wildcat winnings with us. Listen, if you guys out there want to know why we are not, we don't hate the fact that Kentucky wins sometimes. Kentucky fans get pretty generous in the super chats. So we appreciate the support of the channel. But shout out to Joy to the world. Rob, $1.99 super chat. Enough. Bring him the Auburn Tigers at Rupp Arena, he says. So, all right. You're asking for it. Asking for the Tigers. There you go. And as Ethan brought up earlier, yes, kiss of death, inevitable here at Southeastern 16. All right, continue on.
Sorry, I got to mute for a second. There's a high-speed chase going on right outside.
Oh,
I can hear it.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
They heard about Max's 0-4 picks and the confidence choices there, and they're like, he's gotta go. So maybe Matt was on to something here. Said, Max, get the hell out of here from now on. So maybe he sent the cops to try to get him. But yeah, if we look at a little bit into box score here, as to this game, I'm watching this other game, and I'm just so many
I think
words.
Alabama just had it handed.
Don't ever say that.
A&M's failure to rebound that one.
Don't ever say that. This game's never over.
I mean, it was uphill anyway, but.
Look, Kentucky hit 16 threes in this game, 16 of 32. Like Chris said a minute ago, this is what we talk about when we mention this team. You're going to see what happened in a game on Tuesday, but at any time, if they turn around and shoot the ball like this, I mean, Jackson Robinson's out here hitting 7 threes, 7 of 10 from the floor. We've talked about some of this, but I just think it's that balanced attack, and I think it's just that depth, Max, that we talked about. Kind of that's the thing with Kentucky. It's not just a team that has a shooter or two. It's a team that has, quite a few guys who can sort of step up and make a shot at key moments. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys hit a 3 in this game? Now, some of these guys, you're probably not going to expect to do that every single game, but doesn't matter. They did it in this one. And, I mean, yeah, I think it's just that's what you saw here from Kentucky was that we've been asking about, hey, who's that dog that's going to step up in some of these
Yep.
games? We've seen different guys do it. Tonight it was Jackson Robinson. How many clutch shots did the other guys hit? Look at your starting lineup right here, right? Just everybody in double figures. Butler hit some big shots. Owe made some big plays. Williams grabbed some big boards, of course. I mean, he had 10 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks. What a night for Amari Williams. And then Andrew Carr, who we didn't even know if he's going to play, winds up playing 13 points, 6 rebounds. And, yeah, I mean, it's just an incredible effort all the way around here for Kentucky. So,
Well, that's a great point you brought up, Blake, because, like, Jackson Robinson going off for 7 threes, you can say, like, oh, well, we caught them on their best day. Well, they've had games where Kobe Bryant has done that. They've had it where Lamont Butler's done that. They've even had games where Andrew Carr is a go-to guy, and he can't be stopped. It's like, at what point does that narrative just kind of get dropped because they just keep doing it? With this offense, it's been big game after big game after big game now. Someone stepped up in a huge way. And right when you think it's not sustainable, the next game, someone else steps up. It just, at some point, it's just, maybe they don't have a bucket getter like everyone's saying, but hey, every team's different. So
Lamont Butler was just so steady with the ball, too. I mean, no turnovers tonight, 8 assists. Not the quickest point guard in the league, but you can just tell he's played a lot of ball. And to not go down to Starkville and turn it over a few times, because that's a team that can really get after you. Saw them in person this week. Can really give even good guards trouble. He gets an underrated assist in what Kentucky did tonight, too.
Yeah. He does for sure. I thought this was, and someone brought it up earlier in the chat. I tried to start. I didn't get to grab it, but I think that another point here that's very important with this kind of win is that you did it after giving up a big lead, right? Mississippi State comes all the way back, takes the lead, and you're thinking at that point, all right, the momentum has swung. Like we've seen this many times before where, when that momentum swings a bit, how do you get it back, right? And credit Kentucky. Like Mississippi State, I mean, they got up 2-3 maybe, something like that after the 14-point lead. Kentucky was 65-51 maybe at one point. Mississippi State comes back, takes a 2 or 3 point lead, and then all of a sudden, boom, big shot. Kentucky's back up 6 before you know it. I just thought that was the difference too. It wasn't just one of those games. It's like, all right, hey, we just went in, we held on at the end, right? Mississippi State makes their run. No, Mississippi State made their run. They got the lead again. Your emotions are kind of all over the place. You're like, oh man, we just had this huge lead. You find a way to make the plays. I thought that was even bigger for Kentucky here because that does even more for your confidence than just winning the game, right? There's a lot you can build off of in going back and Mark Pope pulling up the film and saying, hey, these are the kind of sequences that are going to get you to, the Sweet 16, to the Final Four and that kind of stuff, or ones like that. Knowing you're going to face a little adversity on the road. They faced it here despite playing really, really well. The other team all of a sudden starts hitting shots. You got Cam Matthews banking in threes out here. You got all kinds of stuff happening at the hump, right? But it's Kentucky who walks out victorious. And before we continue further, by the way, we have 1,100, 1,200 almost and counting here. If you're in here and you're not hitting the like button, I don't know what you're doing. If you like the fact that your team won the game tonight, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you're joining us for the first time, whether you're a Kentucky fan, Mississippi State fan, Texas A&M fan, or Alabama fan, or any other fan, because we're going to talk about everything SEC basketball related. Do that for us. We appreciate you guys. Super chats, as always, are welcome.
I had a few people. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was going to say, and this speaks to Kentucky. When State had that 6-point possession, it sounds like the roof's going to come off the gym, and you got Josh Hubbard in reserve. Like you're kind of at that point, you're thinking, all right, we were down big to a team that can't miss. We just got a little momentum here. Everything is setting up, and then they just couldn't miss shots. And I think that's about the time Ainsley Almanor stepped in and and started hitting them left and right. But I mean, it really had the feel of a game when the momentum shifted that was going to be hard for Kentucky to come back. And again, I think that's where Butler's so big for them. Just having a guy who's played in an NCAA title game, is used to whatever you can throw at him, and they survive.
Taking nothing away from Kentucky, we do have to give a moment to Cam Matthews in the game.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you kidding me? 19 points, 10 rebounds, 6 of them offensive, positive assist to turnover ratio, 6 steals, 2 of 3 from 3. He was 2 of 22 from 3 last year, by the way, 2 of 3 tonight. And I got asked multiple times. I got asked 2 times on Twitter. And then Robert brings it up here. Max, are banked threes bully ball worthy? I will admit the committee was in turmoil after Cam Matthews attempted 2 straight 3-pointers, but the bank did it went over really nicely with the committee. We love a solid bank shot. But yeah, what a game by Cam Matthews.
You're rewarding bank shots, by the way. I'll tell you what, we're not getting to this game yet, but we're about to get to this game in just a few minutes. But folks, if you did not watch the Alabama-Texas A&M basketball game that was just played
for you
in College Station, I have nothing against these 2 top 10 basketball teams, top 10 teams in the country, all right? But that game just went 2 hours and 56 minutes, and it included 88 free throws, 58 fouls.
Oh,
I mean, I don't even know what to say, but we'll have to say something because we got to talk about it. But my goodness, just letting you know, that was one of a kind right there.
I'll be honest. I can usually find at least a glass quarter full on an A&M game like that. But my Lord, that was tough. We all picked. No, we didn't all pick Alabama. Chris, you stuck out A&M and almost paid off for you. It almost paid off for you there.
I just thought that building. I know they don't have Taylor, but oh, good grief, Phelps had played so well the other night without him in a tough spot too. I thought, hey, we'll go with it. But I mean, A&M, that's the first game A&M's lost since November.
Phelps was 9
but I was
of
conflicted
29.
because that's a lot of shots. Has Blake Taylor ever taken 29 shots?
I don't know. 29 shots is a lot of shots.
Goodness.
I got to tweet this. I got to tweet some of these numbers out. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I've got to. Like, if I would be known as the SEC basketball guy on Twitter, I've got to comment on this game. I'm sorry. We're going to comment on it here, but I got to get a tweet out on this thing.
Here's a great comment. SEC, someone's earning a comment foul.
Oh, my
pretty
goodness.
much sums it up.
Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm watching that game, and the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think this game's about to get longer and longer and longer. And like, you could just tell the way it started. Like, it was gonna be that way, but I didn't think it'd be this wild. Okay. That game started at 7 Central. Did it not?
30 minutes before the Kentucky game.
Yeah. So it started 7 Central. So it almost went 3 hours. Like, it's just, oh my.
Max, you know what I'm thinking? Remember that little scale we hooked up about 2 months ago?
Oh, good Lord. That would have broken.
I need to enter the box score of this into that just to see what it spits out.
Man.
And also Kentucky, Mississippi State for different reasons.
It's so absurd, but we gotta laugh about it. All right. What else do we want to wrap up? Don't worry, Kentucky fans. Don't jump away just yet. We'll talk about this a little bit more. Late. What's that?
I was going to say, I mean, everybody's got to stick around because we have medal stands at the end of the night.
Hey, we got medal stands, and someone's asking, are we going to talk Georgia? Yeah, we're going to talk Georgia. We got a bunch of games to get to. We got medals to give out. We got Sanders Logistics a little bit later on here in the program. You got a lot to hang around for. So we'll give out medals, team of the day, all sorts of stuff. So, all right.
How about Chris Youngblood, though? How about Chris Youngblood starting to come along?
Let's talk about Chris Youngblood. Yeah.
How about that? 3 of 6 from 3. He had that. I had never talking about crazy stuff tonight. Did you guys see the sequence of Youngblood? Like, did you guys know what I'm talking about? He's dribbling down this middle of the court. He tries to do like the high dribble carry, and it just like kind of goes up on him. He's like fumbling it in the air, and then he goes and gets an and one. It was like the most awkward sequence I'd ever seen, but he made it work. Tonight was just all over the place. Oh, and then Big Baller Brett wants us to mention Mr. Aiden Holloway, who's been playing fantastic.
Yeah, he has. I mean, look, here's the thing we're going to run into when we try to do the SEC basketball primetime. Like, you got Matt asking that. Robert's here for the ad reads.
Matt's just
Boss
got
Hogg's
that
heading
copy and
out.
paste.
Boss Hogg's heading out to check out the Field of 68. That's fine. Go for it. Skylar's starting a riot. We got all kinds of stuff going on right now in the chat because people want to talk about the Cats. We know got a lot of Kentucky fans in here, but we'll quickly run through some of the other stuff and we'll get back to everything else. But yeah, I think this is a nice road win for Alabama. You got a 94-88 win on the road. Remember my stat too. Alabama had not scored more than 66 points against Texas A&M in College Station since 1992. Like 8 straight games, they had scored 66 or fewer, which is just wild to think about because they almost shot 66 free throws tonight. And so it kind of threw that stat out the window. But yes, the addition of Chris Youngblood, we said it was going to make a difference for Alabama. It has. Aiden Holloway's playing well. And again, it's the same story, right? It's the depth, because if some of your guys don't have their best night scoring-wise, like Grant Nelson goes 2 of 9 in this game, right? Philon goes 3 of 10. But you got a Youngblood, you got a Holloway, guys like that who are just going to step up and be able to replace, some of that production. And they score 94 points here, with one of their starters in double digits. Mark Sears goes for 27. Expect that from him in a big game like this. But 3 guys in double figures off the bench, and that's just kind of the, the story for Alabama is they're going to overwhelm you eventually. And the thing is, too, they go 13 to 37 from 3 in this game. 27 to 40 from the line. Talk about a day for free throw shooting in the SEC. What do we talk about? Who was it? Arkansas? Was that the team that shot poorly earlier?
Yeah.
And then Alabama goes 27 to 40. A&M goes 28 to 48. They missed 20 free throws.
Classic.
And 4 of 8 from 3.
You had combined offensive rebounds in this game. 47. 47 offensive rebounds between these two teams. Like, this is one of the most absurd stat lines for a game I've ever seen in SEC history, and it's still absurd. So, yeah.
How about Mo D's stat line there? No points, 4 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 5 fouls. There were some good performances today. None as good as Josh Gray's, though.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a big one. Well, just quickly, going forward on these two teams here, because this is a top 10 matchup, and I feel like we should be, we're talking about it, but at the same time, it's like, how do you even, what do you say about a game like that isn't going to be sort of dominated by just the actual gameplay itself? But Alabama, looking ahead, we should have done this for Kentucky and Mississippi State too. We'll do that after this. Alabama hosts Ole Miss on Tuesday. Then they go to Kentucky next Saturday. Now that game's going to feature some points, I feel like. Alabama, Kentucky next Saturday, prime time. Is it? It's got to be a prime time game. No, it's an 11 Central game.
What?
What? Man. 11 Central ESPN. It's starting off the day. At least it's not 10. So, yeah, that one's at 11 Central next Saturday. How about that?
Flex it.
So
Flex it, Garth. Flex it up.
Give us a flex. That's the next 2 for Alabama. Then they host Vanderbilt the following Tuesday. Meanwhile, for A&M, that's their first loss in conference play. Keep in mind, what does A&M do? They head to Kentucky on Tuesday. So it all comes back together. Big week for the Cats. They got Alabama and Texas A&M coming up for Kentucky. Back-to-back home games here. That's why this was such a big win for Kentucky when you look at it from that standpoint. Meanwhile, Mississippi State, They go to Auburn on Tuesday, which all of a sudden becomes a very intriguing game, given the Johni Broome injury. They host Ole Miss on Saturday, then go to Tennessee the following Tuesday. So, my goodness, the big matchups just keep on coming here in the SEC right now.
Big Cliff was all right? He ended up coming back. Or am I misremembering?
Didn't he?
Big
Cliff, that game was so long.
I know. My brain is moving slow right now. I think he's all right. I'm just trying to think of like storylines heading in.
Yeah. All right.
Tennessee also played a big one.
They did. They did. Tennessee goes to Texas, gets the win. I mean, again, when I start to, I'm already starting to figure out what are we going to do with our power rankings this week. We welcome super chat bribes, as I always like to say here. If you want us to either pick against your team and or rank them high in the power rankings, both super chats are welcome, because I don't know what we're going to do with these teams this week. But Tennessee, as we said, came off of a 30-point loss to Florida. They turn around and win by 4 at Texas, which, man, Texas, oh my goodness. Back-to-back, 5-point loss to Auburn, 4-point loss to Tennessee. You felt like they had their opportunities in both, and now go to Oklahoma and Florida next week, staring down the possibility of 0-5 if they don't win one of those games, which will be tough, I think, given what we'll talk about with Oklahoma in a minute. But, yeah, Tennessee, I thought that was kind of a gritty type win for Tennessee. I didn't think it was going to be easy. I don't think any of us did. But they go there. They shot the ball well. I thought that was the biggest thing. How about our guy, Darlin Stone Dubar?
Yep.
Hit some big shots in that game. He winds up with 12 points. But I can remember just the sequences where he just hit a couple huge shots. Only played 17 minutes too, but when he was out there, big time buckets from Dubar. And yeah, Chaz Lanier didn't come back with like that 20 points type game. He had a couple threes, finished with 10 points. But Gainey with 12 off the bench. Ziegler with 16, had 8 assists. Go figure on that. But, I mean, look, here's the thing. Texas is 0-3. I think Texas is decent. I think they're maybe good, but they're 0-3, and they could be 0-5. But that's what this league, as we said, could do to you this season. Meanwhile, for Tennessee, they had to have that one. And, yeah, I just thought it wasn't always pretty, but that's the kind of wins you have to have this year in the SEC, and Tennessee got one that they absolutely needed after that Florida game.
I got 2 quotes from Tennessee. Well, one from Dubar and one from Rick Barnes. So shout out to Ryan Schumpert, covers the Vols. Generational catchphrase answer from Darlin Stone Dubar tonight on balancing playing free and playing within the offense. You just have to stick with it and keep the main thing. Chop wood, carry water. Every day is the same. Find me a brick wall. I'll run through it right now. For Darlin Stone Dubar.
Oh, okay? My gosh, that's incredible.
Incredible.
Sounds like a science fiction author. Just incredible stuff. Just incredible.
He's chopping wood, okay? And then the other one, a little bit of a maybe not so upbeat. Rick Barnes on Lanier, okay? This was Barnes says, I took him out first play of the second half because he didn't shoot the ball. The play was designed for that shot, and I told him, if you're not going to do what you're getting paid to do, you sit over here. Rick Barnes not playing around on the road.
How about that quote, though, right? Not paying, like just the paying part, right? Just think about how wild that would sound 10 years ago. But it's like, that's the nature of where we are. So,
crazy.
I didn't let's talk Texas for a second. I didn't come away thinking worse of Texas. Pope and Trey Johnson both hit some really tough shots late to kind of keep them in it. Zakai just made a couple more plays than Texas did at the end, and Dubar hitting the big shots. But, I mean, that's the most I've gotten to see. I shouldn't say it's the most I've seen Texas, but it was close. I like their team. I don't know if the schedule is going to kill them, but they had nothing to hang their hats about today. Just Tennessee did a little bit more at the end.
Watch out for the Longhorns in February, late January. Schedule eases up a little bit. They're a solid team. We got a few. We got quite a few chats we're missing on.
We got a lot of these we got to get to. All right, so here we're gonna run through these. Jacob is now a member of the It Just Means More tier. It just means more to Jacob, just as it did for all the free throws and fouls in College Station tonight. But we appreciate that, Jacob. You'll be getting some members-only content here coming up soon. We got a $2 super chat. Florida beat number 2. Just saying. Yeah, well, I think the Gators are going to be an interesting team in our power rankings this week. I'm curious to see where they wind up. Very curious to see where the Gators are at this week. $4.99 super chat from Rob. He's going to make it easy for us. Kentucky number 1, Tennessee around 10th. Well, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense.
Well,
no bias.
Rob's paying the bills here. So you know what? Rob gets what he wants. That's how it works here. And speaking of that, Jacob with a $9.99 super chat. Been watching for 3 years now, and y'all are sellouts for the super chat, especially me, especially yours truly. See you in the SEC tournament. So, sorry, Jacob. You know, we're trying to keep this thing going, trying to keep the lights on. So, yeah, sometimes we're kind of sellouts for the super chat. I'm not gonna lie. Got a new member as well. 10-cent Pistol 100 has joined as well. So we appreciate that. A new member here at the channel. You guys are great. Eli's checked in. Eli, noted Mississippi State fan. Cursed versus Kentucky. Yeah, I mean, this just again, think about that, right? They've now, those two teams, as I said earlier, played 5 straight games in Starkville at the hump. And they've all been decided by 5 points or fewer, and somehow the same team has won all those games, right? It's one of those things where you're like, you're playing that many close games, surely the ball bounces your way a few more times and you win one of those. But just hasn't been the case for Mississippi State against Kentucky. So, yeah, the curse may be on. You may need a Southeastern 16 kiss of death in the opposite direction, Eli, to break that curse. Unfortunately, we did not do that for you this season. We did it the other way. But there you go. What else we got, Max?
Talk a little Bulldogs Sooners.
Yeah.
How about that? Back-to-back top 20 wins for Georgia.
I didn't
72-62, 10-point win. Chris, what'd you like?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I didn't lock into that one. I was watching who was it on at the time? Tennessee, I think was the main overlap. But I did have. I mean, who had primary responsibility on Jeremiah Fears? Because he didn't even score until the second half.
Here we go.
Ended up with 2 or 4. Something like that. I mean, it was like if you know Oklahoma's going to go into Athens and that's going to happen, your chances of winning are not good. And we saw what happened.
It was a physical battle down low. Dogs go 3 of 17 from 3, and it doesn't even matter in the slightest.
Yeah.
That's called a team that is built on physicality and defense. Telling you right now, guys, Georgia is not going anywhere because of this height, because of this physicality, because of this perimeter defense. Oklahoma, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league, 7 of 27, under 26%. That Robert tells you right there, they don't need the 3 ball. If they get it, it's a plus. If they get it, it's a plus. They're beating teams without it right now. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Georgia outshot them from the foul line 37-9.
Can't match
Fouls were
physicality.
28-16.
I mean, it was a tough spot for Oklahoma. We said it. I mean, I just thought it was you're coming off the game where they should have beat A&M, and you don't win that game, and before that you had the blowout at Alabama. And now you have a tough game on the road, right? And so I just thought it was a tough spot for Oklahoma. And look, it's like now after the 13-0 start, you're 0-3. And then you have 2 very interesting games coming up next week. You host Texas and you host South Carolina. And then from there, their schedule starts to pick up too, right? They've still got home games against Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee. They got road games at A&M, Auburn, Missouri, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas. So, man, this is what we mean. And we always say it's a long season, but when you put yourself in these positions early, in a year like this, that's tough, man. Because Max said, look up at maybe Texas in February, We'll see what it looks like. But also, does 0-3 turn into 0-4 and turn into 0-5 and it just beat you down to the point to where, I don't know, what does it look like in February, right? And so if you're Oklahoma, like that's a tough one. But man, Georgia, that's the thing, right? Like I said, they've got back-to-back top 20 wins at home now. And if you look at the numbers, we're always kind of fascinated by the three-point shooting in the SEC because I always say this is not one of the best three-point shooting leagues out there. But right now, Georgia's shooting 20.3% from three in their first 3 games. And yet they're 2-1 with 2 top 20 wins. So it's like you just have to find ways, right? And like that, I think, is something that certainly stands out right now because we talked about the poor shooting from Arkansas earlier. They're not much better through this many games. They're 20.6%. But yeah, like it's just that is really for Georgia. They've come a long way, man. I keep saying it. Think about what Mike White took over there several years ago and where they are now. 14-2, back-to-back signature wins. They got that win over St. John's in non-conference play, and as our guy tweeted, good news, Georgia fans, because as Skyler brings up here, and as John Rothstein brought up on Twitter, the bad news is that your games next week, man, you got the Vols and you got the Tigers. Now, like we said, that Auburn matchup could look a little different depending on the Johni Broome injury. But that's their week next week. Tennessee in Knoxville on Wednesday, back to Athens for Auburn next Saturday. Then it's back-to-back road games at Arkansas, at Florida the following week. So Georgia does their work up front. They hold serve at home. That's what you got to do to be successful this year in this SEC.
Quick pop quiz. What do you guys think Bart Torvik has there? It's updated now after this game. What do you think the percent chance of a bid for Georgia is right now?
Was Torvik the high man on Georgia? Like it was either Torvik or Evan Maya had Georgia like about 10 or 15 spots higher than all the other ones did.
I'm not sure. But
I'm gonna say 7%.
58 and 70 was that?
Mm-hmm.
95.
95.
Goodness. Yep, they're slotted as an 8 seed right now.
Wow. Look at this.
Wow.
Of all the people that got this. You kidding me, Matt? Matt's scouting the dogs. He's ready for the rematch already. Yeah, that's wild. 95%.
Yep.
Man.
Look at their wins. They beat St. John's.
I know.
Hey,
look, if they just get one win next week.
Athens could get interesting with their size and physicality inside and presumably no Broome. I mean, that's a tough matchup with Newell and James and Cyril and all those guys, and they have some dudes.
I mean, even look at the Ole Miss game. Like the offense was just awful for Georgia, but they still held Ole Miss to 63 points. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like even if the offense is absolutely not there whatsoever, defense is going to keep them in it.
I mean, look, the remaining road games for Georgia, and this is, again, the good thing, is that these are it may sound bad, but these are your remaining road games. At Tennessee, at Arkansas, at Florida, at Alabama, at Texas A&M, at Auburn, Texas, at South Carolina. How many good win opportunities are there, but also how many bad loss opportunities are there? 1. That's at South Carolina right now on March the 4th. That's it. Everything else is like, hey, if we take your business at home, steal one of those road games, they're not only in, they're a 7 seed or something, So, yeah, that number sounds high, but maybe the more you think about it, we'll see. The dogs.
A couple things. Donovan answered your question, who beat Marquette. Iowa State did, and somebody else. Oh, Dayton. Number 2, can you imagine if you were a Texas or Oklahoma Battle fan even 2, 3, 4 years ago? Okay, we're leaving the Big 12. And we're going to the ACC. You're going, thank God. Finally, our life gets a little easier.
Wow.
Those teams are 0-6.
It just means more here, folks. Longhorns, Sooners just means more in the Southeastern Conference.
Longhorns and Sooners 0-6.
Yeah, they're 0-6. How about that?
Wow.
Both entered as, it's wild.
That's crazy.
All right, here's what we're going to do. we're going to quickly run through everything else. Again, remember, guys, we've already talked about Auburn, South Carolina, Florida, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and 2 reaction streams about half an hour each earlier today. So we'll just kind of wrap that up when we do, individual awards, all that stuff for the night. Take any more of your questions, all that kind of jazz. So you're in there, 1,400 of you are in here watching at 10:30 Central Time, 11:30 Eastern for some of you. Who knows where you are in the world? It could be tomorrow at 10 a.m. We don't know.
Yes.
So you could be anywhere, and a lot of you are watching right now. So leave those super chats, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to do that. We appreciate it. Again, it just means more. Here at Southeastern 16, you can join that $3.99 a month. That donates to the channel, and you get some members-only content. What's not to like about that? And it also gets you set up for Prime Sanders Logistics coming soon here on this particular show. You just don't know when, but it's coming. All right, let's quickly run through everything else. Max, what are the only games we have to clean up? Is it LSU Ole Miss? Is that it?
And we already talked about Missouri Vandy, didn't we?
Yeah, so it's just that one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this should be quick. Ole Miss 77, LSU 65. It's a struggle for the Tigers, who did get off to a good start in this game.
They did.
I looked up earlier, and I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? Ole Miss had, 7 points with 10 minutes to go in the first half. LSU got off to a decent start, but it didn't hold, and that's just kind of the story, I think, for LSU this season is we mentioned just the difference without Jalen Reed. And, it was just kind of one of those games where it's going to be tough to go in there and win. But I just keep looking at the balance, too, of this Ole Miss team, right? And we've said it. That's been one of the things that has stood out. But also the play of Malik Dia is something else, too, where back-to-back games now, 21 points in that win at Arkansas, had 8 rebounds in that one. This game, 19 points, 7 rebounds, added a couple blocks, too. He's been the difference maker these past couple games, and they're going to need him to keep being that because now I think you're going to start to see some of those games this upcoming week where they're going and playing some physical front courts in Alabama and Mississippi State, and then they turn around and play Texas A&M the game after that. So, there's a big stretch coming up for Ole Miss. It was important to get that win, but don't look now. The Rebels, 3-0 in the league.
I think Kentucky's a bit better than Ole Miss right now, but the reason I start with that is because I think Ole Miss is kind of in the same boat as where it's kind of any guy, any night. Some nights it's Dia. Some nights it's Padula with 6 threes. Some nights it's Matt Morrell. Some nights Dre Davis is just going off. Tonight it was Dia and Brakefield. It's like it's like every other night with Missouri. We've said I don't know how many times when we're doing the power rankings, like Ole Miss such a hard team to get a read on, and I feel like that's kind of a reason why is they have so many different options, both backcourt, both front court, and they don't really. It kind of changes with the matchup. For LSU, real quick, the perimeter is just not there. That's what I said last time. 22.6% from 3. Without Reed down low to kind of have that pressure release and without the shooting outside, it's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah, I thought that we've talked about Ole Miss and all the guards they've got. You can't play them all at once. It's not a particularly tall team, although it is a shot blocking team. Well, I say particularly tall, not in the post. And I know D is not like a post guy, but he is 6'9". He's one of the bigger guys. Back-to-back high-scoring games for him this year. So I think that helps Ole Miss a little bit, knowing they're maybe getting some scoring from a different spot of the floor that's not Padula or Morrell or Murray or whoever. So that stood out. Little footnote for LSU was Damian Collins got 14 points in 32 minutes. I don't know if those are season highs for him or not. But if not, they're probably close. I mean, that's a guy we've had our eye on for a while. If LSU is going to have any hopes of, better things ahead, he needs to be part of it. So that might be the one good thing you take away from it if you're LSU today.
Yeah. Beyond that, you're You're trying to find some things because we said too their schedule also. Which talk about Arkansas fans, LSU and Arkansas on Tuesday in Baton Rouge. Can you imagine what happens if Arkansas loses that game?
Oh man,
2 0-3 teams, desperation mode. That's a tricky one too for the Hogs, I think, on the road. But then after that, LSU goes to A&M and Alabama, and then they come back home to host Auburn. So, yeah.
Did you see Cal say like he had no clue that they were playing on Tuesday and he was hoping that they were playing on Wednesday?
Well, Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, it's kind of basically the same day if you really think about it. What about this? Josh, in Japan, it's 1:25 p.m. We said earlier it could be 10 a.m. over there. It's 1:25 p.m. So we are just, we're going into tomorrow. We're basically Alabama versus Texas A&M. Like, it's the same formula here. So, all right, but here's what we're going to talk about real quick because we've talked about all these games. So now let's just quickly update the standings. Why don't we? Let's take a look at the standings here. Max, can we pull those up somewhere? Let me see if we can find them.
The SEC standings?
Yeah, let's pull up the standings. I'd like everyone to see what this looks like. We talked about these teams. Most people probably know what the records are, but still, it needs to be said here as we finish game slate number 3 in SEC play. We've got 3 unbeaten teams still, and we'll talk about everybody else.
It might not show up on the whole page.
That's all right. We can just we can go through it. It's fine.
But you can see my
all right.
20 tabs open.
Here we have it. Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss are the 3-0 teams, and currently we'll have to look at the schedule. I don't think there's any near games on the horizon between those 3, so we'll look further down the schedule for when they play. I think that's right. Now we get to the jumbled mess in the middle. Florida 2-1, Tennessee 2-1, Georgia 2-1, Mississippi State 2-1, Kentucky 2-1, Missouri 2-1, Texas A&M 2-1. Incredible. That's how it's kind of shaken out so far.
Look at that.
Listen, can you imagine us trying to rank these teams? Are you kidding me? What are we gonna do for power rankings?
15-1, 15-1, 14-2, 14-2, 13-3, 13-3.
What are we gonna do with our power rankings this week? Let's finish it off, Max. Who's below that? Vanderbilt's at 1-2. Vanderbilt's the only team that's 1-2. That's incredible. But then 5 teams at 0-3. Oklahoma, Arkansas, LSU, Texas, South Carolina. Easily the most surprising of that group. Going into the season would have been Arkansas. Maybe still would be the answer for most people. But I still think that Texas-Oklahoma 0-3. Man. It's that's just brutal, man.
Oklahoma's one of the last 3 unbeatens overall, and now is 0-3 in the league. And by the way, Auburn and Alabama both have 2 road wins.
Yeah. Well, listen, I take offense with Nicholas here. The power rankings mean nothing. It's a waste of time. You know what, Nicholas? You're 100% right. But we at least entertain ourselves, don't we? We try to entertain ourselves. So, yeah. Should we go through the 8-team tiebreaker in the middle? Is that what Matt's asking for? Maybe, I'm not sure. But all right, let's break the tie between the 8-2-1 teams. I'm just kidding, or the 7-2-1 teams. Remember, tiebreakers do not matter.
We'll be here until 1:25 p.m. in Japan.
Yeah. Well, all right. So there's your standings.
Yep.
We can pull them off the screen now. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Skylar's giving me some slack here, trying to make fun of me. I was thinking Blake was talking about our pick standings, and because he wanted to dunk on us because he's in the lead right now, but he didn't want to do that. I thought that's what he was going to do.
Technically, I could have picked Missouri because I wanted to pick Missouri, but I know you're right. I am a man of my word. I will take the L for picking Vanderbilt, but I had to do it for the people of Columbia, Missouri. I told them I would not put the kiss of death on them like we did Mississippi State. So I picked Vanderbilt.
Would I be in a tie for the lead if I hadn't flipped my A&M pick?
maybe.
I gotta
but
tally them up. I haven't.
Come
Okay.
on.
This
We're not
afternoon's
rewarding.
I'm really
chaos.
regretting that one.
We're not rewarding January midseason champions here. Okay, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And we've already established you would beat us in a marathon. Danny has become a member. It just means more tier. We appreciate Danny. DJ Big Dirty asked also, and right after this, we got to get to something special. What the deal is with Wade Taylor, Max?
It's a groin strain. It's a muscle strain. So
That's what
he's
been dealing with a while.
yeah, it's a nasty one. So he's been out. No sign of him returning yet.
Yeah. All right. So, Drew King checking in. Dennis Gates thinks so. Yeah. I assume Dennis probably gave me a shout out in the press conference. I'm just going to assume that happened. So you know what? We had this game in the bag once I realized that Blake picked Vanderbilt and avoided the Southeastern 16 kiss of death. But yeah, everybody, like, I can't pick anyone. You guys won't let me pick anyone. Like, anytime I pick your team, you're just like, please don't. It says a lot about what I bring to the table here. But I tell you one thing, it's cold right now. And, you know, Max, because it's chilly, it got me thinking about something in particular. You know what that was?
Mm-hmm.
Got me thinking about the beach. You know?
Oh, okay.
You know? I like the
Okay.
beach because you know what? It's usually warm. Usually warm at the beach, isn't it? And
Nice.
so
Yeah, sun's out.
here's what I started thinking about, Max Barr. I said, you know, I'd like to go to the beach. And I was thinking, what beach should I go to, right? There's plenty of options. Is there not?
Yeah.
What are some of the ones you would suggest? Max, Chris, what do you think? People in the chat, what kind of beaches would it be great to go to when it's cold outside?
Orange Beach.
Okay.
Is there a beach at Irvine?
Yeah, Irvine's got a beach. Great beach
that's
there.
that's
Laguna
the
Beach
beach.
is nearby.
Wrightsville.
Blake.
Wrightsville Beach.
Oh, yeah?
Shout out Wilmington. We'll keep it in the Carolinas.
Danny says Myrtle Beach has some snow right now. That's interesting.
Myrtle Beach.
Matt says the worst ad read of all time. Matt, you have no idea what's coming, pal. You know, we were thinking about all the beaches, right? And so I'm trying to make this as long as the Alabama-Texas A&M game. Some beaches I was thinking of were maybe Aruba. Aruba sounds good, does it not?
Yeah.
Maybe Jamaica.
Been there.
Ooh, I want to take you.
Jamaica's nice.
How about Bermuda?
Ooh. Okay.
Bahamas?
This is
Key Largo? Montego?
Montego.
What
Max
about
says, you know what?
Kokomo?
Yeah.
If you guys don't know this song, then you got to figure it out. Because I could go any of those places that I wanted to with Sanders Logistics. Because they could move me to any of those beaches. They may not be within their territory that they're allowed to move in, but if you call Sanders Logistics and you play Kokomo, the Beach Boys Classic, they'll probably take you to any of those places that I just mentioned because Sanders Logistics is formerly known as Ted R. Sanders Moving. They're a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. Their team of professional movers, they'll do it all. Like, they're just tremendous people. What can I say? Efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price, whether you're moving across town or across the country or to anywhere that I mentioned that has a beach. They'll get you there because Sanders Logistics has you covered. You can visit them at tedrsandersmoving.com. Let them know that the Beach Boys sent you, and they will take care of your moving needs. So
The chat as you go farther and farther into it just gets better and better. That was better.
now, look, hey, Bill's right. They'll get you there fast, but then they'll take it slow. That's
Yep.
Sanders Logistics. They're all about efficiency. They'll get you there fast, they'll take it slow. That's where I want to go.
Might have to look this up.
Down to Kokomo. All right. Here we go. Let's finish up here. Medal stand.
Well, first we had a quick super
order?
chat from guess who? Zach Dixon. Early reports of a low ankle sprain. Low, but don't take his word for it. Better than a high ankle. Got to wait for the MRI. Early news out of Auburn. maybe a low
Can we
ankle.
get Zach in the MRA room tomorrow? Can we get him bringing out the actual
Just
give us the photo? Can we get the photo?
Yeah.
So
let's get on that. I'll follow up.
All right.
Awards. All right. What are we gonna do? Medal stand or just team of the day, player of the day?
Medal stand, players and coaches.
Chris runs the medal stand, so he gets to start this thing off.
Do you want all mine first?
Yes. Okay.
I think let me look at the schedule here to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's do team, and then we'll do players. All right. So we'll go. Everybody give their teams, and then we'll give our players. How about that?
Okay. Is Chris not going first? I'll go.
No. I'm just thinking it through. I'm going to go Bronze, Tennessee.
Ooh.
I'm going to go Silver, Alabama, Gold, Kentucky.
Okay.
I am going to go. Oh, do I do this? Just do it. I'm going to go bronze, South Carolina. I know that they lost, but they were up at halftime when no one was hurt yet. And if they had won, they'd probably be everyone's gold, but they lost by 3 points. I'll give them a bronze. Silver, I'm going to go Missouri. Picking up 2 wins now. It's 2 more than they had last year. And then I'm going to go gold. Got to be game of the night, game of the year so far. I'll go Kentucky.
All right. Bronze goes to the Georgia Bulldogs.
Ooh,
Silver,
nice.
Alabama Crimson Tide. And the gold goes to the Cats.
Yep.
Kentucky gets the gold.
You can almost go Mississippi State at bronze. I mean, they played really well.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Despite losing.
Yeah. That's what we're here for, folks.
Players. Would you like me to start us off?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go. It is rare that we put a guy from a losing team on the medal stand, but if you watch the game tonight, he was incredible. Cam Matthews, bronze.
Nice.
I'm going to go Mark Sears, silver, and I think I'm going to go Jackson Robinson, gold, because, boy, he had some big shots. What wasn't a lot. I mean, the resume was the 3-pointers, and those were some big 3-pointers.
Yep.
I am going to go bronze. Alex Condon was massive today in the front court. Was just a force through that second half. Silver, I'm going to go Mr. Cam Matthews. And then gold, Maxie. I'm going to go Trey Johnson.
Oh.
He had 26. He was just absolutely going bananas there. And you already mentioned Robinson, so I'll spread the wealth.
All right. I will too. I'm going to go bronze Collin Murray-Boyles because South Carolina's not even in that game if he doesn't have that kind of performance.
Yep.
So I'm going to go him with the bronze. The silver, I'm going to go Cam Matthews. And the gold, a clean sweep for the Cats. Jackson Robinson gets the gold.
Nice.
Thought Zakai Ziegler deserves some consideration here too. But yeah, I mean, great day of basketball, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. Oh, I wish I had starred Tony's comment. Tony was in here earlier. I don't think he made it to the late night, but he was telling us how much he enjoyed today. I'll try to get up there and find it. Good old Tony.
Yep.
But we have a lot more chats than I thought we did.
A great super chat. $1.99. Game ended. A&M refs are still calling fouls. Maybe. You never know. All right.
There it is.
There we go.
This is 30 minutes ago. We're still going. What a day.
Yeah.
What an absolute day.
What a day. I tell you, we got 1,500 people watching this thing. We are late into the night here on a Saturday night. This is the kind of season it's been in SEC basketball. It's just, there's always something interesting to talk about. Like, all of these games have some sort of fascinating storyline coming out of them. And yeah, I mean, like, this is where, as we said, there was going to be clear separation. And like, if you look at it now, if we look at like Ken Palm's, we're going to get down a rabbit hole with this, but if you look at Ken Palm's like projected conference records, right? Still got Auburn at 15-3, but then it's like you start to look at some of these: Florida at 13-5, Alabama 12-6, Tennessee 12-6, Texas A&M 11-7, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Ole Miss all at 10-8, Georgia and Missouri 8-10. Do Georgia and Missouri get in at 8-10 in the league? I think so. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, all 0-3 at 7-11. So still making up some ground here. So it's just, again, these are just projections based on data, but man, it's just it's going to be wild.
I'll run through something real quick just because I find it so interesting. The Bart Torvik percent chance at a bid. I'll run through them.
Yeah, do that. That's interesting.
I'll run through them real quick. Okay. Auburn 100%. Tennessee and Alabama both 99.9, and Florida. And then Kentucky and Mississippi State 99.7. A&M 99.6. Ole Miss 98.4. Georgia 94.4. Missouri 91.5.
Wow.
Oklahoma 74.1. Texas 72.2.
What?
Oklahoma 74.1. I already said that, did I? I think I did. Vandy 31.5.
Yeah, that was a big one today.
Yep. Arkansas 20.4.
What?
LSU.
Say that again?
20.4.
20 point. I thought you said 2.4. Sorry.
No. And then LSU and South Carolina both right now at 0.1. But yeah, I mean, those can change. Those change quickly. You pick up a huge win. You pick up one of the top. You pick up a win against Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, or A&M. Honestly, any of those, they're so high up in the analytics that'll springboard you up. But yeah, that's where it sits right now.
All right. I'll ask you guys something. And this is not to be confused with who are you putting number one in power rankings, but who feels the best about their situation leaving today? I think an answer that I'm pretty clear on. I want to see if it's the same one that you guys have.
Well, I mean,
just overall.
So
yes.
Are you saying like short term,
your prognosis
long-term?
Going forward?
Okay. Well, if the word prognosis was used, then that means you can't put Auburn in there because I know that.
Right.
But like,
I mean, you can. There's still plenty deep, but that was a big thing.
I mean, I still would put Auburn in there. Until I know for sure, I think I would put them in there. But then it's like, honestly, like I think it's Alabama's got to be in there. There's no question about it. And Florida, but also I think you can put Kentucky in there.
Kentucky.
It's like in Tennessee. I mean, I'm not just completely discounting Tennessee either. Yep. I know they just got beat by 30, but I'm not ready to jump off that bandwagon yet. And I think you could say the same about Mississippi State a little bit.
A&M,
but Mississippi State too, because it's like, I mean, they were right there, and Kentucky played just a fantastic game. And, Mississippi State was answering time and time again, but like, I feel like that's the point. And I don't know how we're going to rank the top three, because remember, power rankings, we can't just take Auburn and put them at 7, if Broome's out for this long, that's not going to happen. But it's probably, I would still say it's Auburn and Alabama, and I would probably say for the third team, take your pick between Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, probably. But I don't know. Like, I'd have to look at it more. So,
I mean, A&M just went to Oklahoma and won, and only lost to Alabama by 6 at home without Wade Taylor. And we know how much he does for them.
yeah.
I know I'm always going to be a little bit more bullish on the Aggies, but still, I mean, I pretty much I was like all the way out almost after that Oregon game on November 26th, and they keep winning me back. So,
Yeah. Who's yours, Chris?
Mine is Alabama.
Alabama
And
overall?
I'll tell you why. Bank 2 road wins, has not lost since Oregon back in November, Thanksgiving week, I think. Just went and beat, and I know no Wade Taylor, but beat a Texas A&M team that played as well as anybody since Thanksgiving in any conference in their building. Controlled the tempo, held the lead. I know we didn't talk about the game as much because it was still going on when we came live. And you look at some of the other teams, you've got Wade Taylor. Groin injuries are tricky. Didn't even suit up the last 2 games. Has bothered him before. We'll wait and see about Broome's ankle. I don't think Johni Broome's done for the season or anything, but could he be shelved for a few weeks, and could he have some trouble when he comes back? Who knows? We'll wait and see. But I think, and Florida's right in there too after what Florida just did to Tennessee. But I think Alabama is playing so well right now. I think they kind of got dropped to the bottom of the discussion with all the other teams in the league, with Auburn, with Tennessee, and they're not even playing at the ceiling, guys. They're still getting used to playing together with all the lineup shuffling.
Close, though.
They're getting closer, but they're not there. Big Cliff can give them more than he's given them, and I'm not trying to call their players out in a negative way. I'm just saying there's more there for a lot of their players than they have shown, and they're still playing exceptionally well enough to go into Texas A&M and Foul Fest and lead pretty much the whole night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to push back too much. I mean, Alabama's a top 5 team in the country. Like, I think it's easy to put them there, but especially, again, if we don't know the Broome thing with Auburn, because, right, those were the 2 teams coming into the season. Like, it was always about those 2. Like, I feel like we said that so much, and now look where we are. 3 games into conference play, right? Auburn's 15-1, Alabama's 14-2. And so it's just, I mean, these 2 teams, I think we always thought had the highest ceiling, and now you sort of look at them heading into the spot that they're in right now. And, but yeah, I mean, again, I think you can make the case for Kentucky, but I also think Florida's the team to me is, I think they're the biggest. My confidence in Florida is very, very high right now in terms of like their path forward. Because again, like we go back to it, that Florida-Kentucky game, we thought that was about both teams and not really, this bad defense or that. Like, we just thought both teams played a very high caliber game. And so, yeah, that's the top of this league, man. It's brutal. So
let's just play a theoretical right here. Random anonymous person votes Florida number 1 in their power rankings on Monday. Is that person crazy?
No.
Hypothetical. If you saw someone tweet, someone tweets it out. Hey, here's my SEC power rankings for today, and we're talking Monday here, and they have Florida at number 1. Do you think they get it? Would you push back? I wouldn't.
It's crossed my mind. I don't think I'll go there, but it has crossed my mind because of how well they are playing.
I mean,
I still think I'd put Alabama ahead of Florida. Maybe spoiler alert here, but I don't know though. I mean, who knows? Again, depends on how much money somebody sends me before Monday, and then maybe I won't put them ahead.
The huge wins aren't there like some other teams, and I think that's the separator. But sure. I mean, if you want to say they might be as good as anybody, I don't think it's crazy.
Who has the best win in the league right now in SEC play?
Well, I mean,
I think you.
Yeah,
I think we know.
No one has a 30-point win over the number 1 team in the country. You're right about that.
Just throwing it out there.
These power rankings. If you guys aren't tuning in at 9 a.m. Central Time on Monday, What are you doing? Because this thing is going to be wild. This will be our wildest edition of Power Rankings yet this season. And we've been doing them every week for how many weeks now? A couple months. This will easily be the wildest set we've ever done. By far. So hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. 9 a.m. Central, Monday morning.
See, I think the orders will change a little bit. I'm not sure that the general place that we've got teams grouped will change that much. I'll be interested to see because I mean, I've said all along, like, you've got like a tier one of, well, you've got Auburn, then you got 2 or 3 teams after that, then you've got about 5 or 6 teams there right together, and we shuffle them around one week after another, depending on who won last and all that. But we've said all along that the gaps in the teams aren't really significant. Like, there's not a lot of difference between 4 and 8. I'm trying to think of like who has really made a move up or down.
Biggest mover?
Yeah, like moved out of a tier, up a tier, or down a tier. I've got a couple of teams in mind.
I was just going to say Arkansas has moved down.
But we already had them 13 or 14.
No, they were moving up. They were getting
okay.
They were on up
I think
in
they
like
got up
10,
to 11, didn't they?
9,
11,
10, 11, somebody there, yeah. So I think they're going to move down a bit. But I mean, in terms of like moving up, no. Like, I still think there's a pretty clear
probably
top
Georgia
half.
might be the
Georgia may
See,
be.
that's one I was thinking about in moving up, and probably Oklahoma has to move down a little bit more towards the bottom 4 to
and I mean, like,
4,
but
5,
the thing
6.
is, like, who does Georgia lap? Like, who do they move past in terms of
that's fair.
that top 7? Or, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to lap anybody in that group. So
how do you judge Kentucky's resume? Because they got the huge win at home, 106-100 over Florida. Then they lose by 13, 82-69 at Georgia. And then also on the road, go and beat Mississippi State when they were crushing everybody, 95-90. I mean, like, that's a tough 3-game that's a tough 3-game split there.
Well, and then the team that Georgia just lost to, Ole Miss, is sitting here as one of the 3 unbeaten teams.
Oh, what do we do with them?
We're spending 15 minutes tonight trying to prep for power rankings on Monday. Like, we're using on-air time to try to work our way through this to see how, but 1,500 people watching this. Like, we're actually peaking right now here as we're going through this. Like, there's 1,500 plus people now watching, and I mean, I don't have a great answer. Hopefully, we'll have a great answer on Monday with our power rankings, folks. But before we head out, here in just a few. By the way, Carlos checked in. He's here, Max.
Oh, I know. Carlos
Don't anyone
here.
say that Carlos didn't show up after a loss for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. He's here.
We also had Eli was here. We got a few
Eli
others. Cal State were here. Hey,
they're checking
Mississippi State. I'm not walking away from that performance being like, oh, I'm worried now.
No,
checking in.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I don't think so.
No.
That's 2 great teams. Yeah, playing each other. And I mean, again, the series history was in Kentucky's favor, and they just did it again. All right, so
I'm going to watch the highlights again after we get off the stream.
Yes.
I'm
all right, on the way out here, as always, give us an emoji.
Yep.
Give us an emoji on your thoughts on your favorite team right now. What are your feelings in one emoji? That's all we need here. What are your thoughts on your favorite team here at the moment? You can also leave an emoji on Sanders Logistics if you would like. You can leave a truck as an emoji to say you're ready to move with Sanders Logistics.
Did we miss the 2 super chats, or did we already pull those up?
I have no idea. We've gone through so many of those.
Okay,
actually,
we've got Big Baller Brett with a $2 super chat. Aiden Holloway. I'm surprised it's not LeBaron Philon. Usually that's a Philon message there. Switching it up on us, keeping us on our toes. And then we also have Unique with a $2 super chat. Appreciate it. Arkansas, what? Go Gators. Gators in the house tonight. EJ was in here earlier. Didn't see him tonight.
Well, the emojis are coming in. We've got some dance moves. Elliot's got Missouri dancing, so I like the little disco dance here.
Yep.
The emoji. Kentucky fans have a variety of ones here. I mean, a simple cat will do if you don't know what else you want to put with that. Donovan, what's Donovan got? That's the sweep? Is that what he's got?
Broome.
Is that a broom? I can't tell. Oh, jeez.
Come on.
Man, it's a broom. My goodness. Okay. Oh, man, it's late. It's cold.
Is it a broom or is it a crutch?
Like to be in Aruba or Jamaica.
I think it's a crutch.
That's a good question.
I don't know what it is.
I think it's a crutch. I don't think it's a broom.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah. I don't know.
How about Carlos?
idea.
Carlos is in pain. He's in pain, but he's also feeling good.
Oh man. Oh, it's crutches. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. You can tell what time it is. We're approaching midnight here.
We're out of here. All right. You guys are the best.
Today was awesome.
Yeah. Fun.
Matt,
fun day.
you guys are old.
Fun day of basketball.
Matt.
That was as
we've been
awesome as a
streaming.
slate as I have ever. I mean,
Great.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just like I'm not remembering all the way back to last year, but man, these 2 Saturdays have been awesome.
My only knock on today was the way the games were not scheduled well throughout the day. Like you had the standalone Auburn, South Carolina game, and then you had all those games, mid-afternoon to the night going at once. Like I wish they would have early tipped another game or two, but hey, we watched anyway.
No.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thank you for watching. What a day of basketball it was. Good luck to your favorite team going forward. Let's hope for a good injury prognosis on Johni Broome.
Yes.
Hope you guys stay safe. I know it's frozen throughout parts of the South, including where Blake and I are. Max, did you guys get snow?
We got snow. Yep. Charlotte
Okay,
got snow.
You got snow. Okay. In any case, thank you for watching us here at Southeastern 16. For Max Barr and Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great night. We'll see you again soon.